guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. Today I have to do a extremely deep clean of my kitchen. I have not really deep cleaned it since we've gotten it, and we've had this kitchen now for 3 years. When we first moved here, we ripped out the old kitchen because it was all molded, and we really needed to get a new one in here. So I have not kind of cleaned out the drawers and done a good organization since we got this kitchen installed. So it is in need. And I noticed yesterday when we were doing that big cookie batch cooking that I really need to get these cleaned. I mean, I do clean the outside of the cabinets because they are white and they show absolutely everything. But I haven't actually cleaned inside the drawers. I know that I need to get rid of some stuff because I have duplicates of certain things that I don't need. So we're gonna go through that. I'm going to list a lot of that stuff on my local marketplace, maybe Etsy, I'm not sure, but and the stuff that I don't think I really want to list, I'll just donate to a local thrift store. So let's get started. I guess I just want to pre-preference this. This is a cleaning video there and organizing. There's absolutely no cooking in this, unfortunately. Today is I have kind of dedicated to making sure that my kitchen gets cleaned up before the holidays start. So if you are not interested in watching me clean and organize, then this is not going to be your favorite video. But give it a thumbs up anyways. I'm totally joking. Anyways, let's get started. I know one thing that I need to get right away is I need to get a box because I know just from kind of being through my cupboards that I already know some stuff that I want to get listed. So let's go and get a box, and then I'm going to fill this up with some hot soapy water, and that is what we're going to be using to wash the inside of the cupboards. I think what we'll do is we will start by emptying kind of the upper cabinets, and we will just put everything on that table, and that way we can kind of go through it. Once it's on the table, we can assess what we have. I find it easier to have everything kind of laid out in front of me instead of in these drawers where they belong. If it is on the table, I can kind of sort through it. I can visually see it better, and then that way we can get them all cleaned out, rinsed out, let them dry while we kind of go through everything. Sorry, I'm just gonna get my hair back also. I tend to work better when my hair is not in my face. Oh, and then we're gonna clean this kitchen table off first, but we'll do that later. Okay, let's just move these chairs out of here also. That way we have just the kitchen table. Okay, so we have our box. I'm just gonna put that underneath the kitchen table for now. That way it's there when we need it, because this is where we're going to be putting everything. Or one of the things that I really, I guess, excel at is we all have our, I guess, traits that we're good at. And for me, organization is definitely that trait. I don't know if it's OCD. It very well could be OCD, but I'm going to call it organization. And yeah, I just absolutely, in order for me to thrive, I need to have everything kind of in its spot because I like to know where stuff is. And I also find that when my house is cluttered, I feel like really rushed, and I feel like I can't concentrate because there's too much stuff kind of clouding my thought process. So I do like to have a kind of a clean, orderly house, I guess we'll call that. Sounds a little bit uptight when I say orderly house, but just means clean, where I know where stuff is, where I'm not tripping over stuff, and where I don't lose things. That's the other thing. If my house is cluttered, I lose stuff. I lose paperwork, and I cannot handle that. I like to just kind of have a spot for everything. is on the table. We've already kind of gone through some of it. A lot of it is my spices, so I'm not really going to go through that with you guys because I've already have a video on it. I can link it above or in the description for you guys so you can go and check it out if you like organizing, because that is, again, an organizing video. This one cabinet right here is kind of my baking cabinet, which I'm kind of wondering why I have that there, because I do all of my baking right here. So, and I mean, I like to have my spices here because it is right by the stove. So I am actually debating. Now these are my, this is where I keep all my bowls and my plates. And I kind of like this location because it's right by the dishwasher and I can just put it in its spot. But this is where I do all of my baking. So I really would love to be able to open my cupboards and have all of my baking stuff right here. So this is one of these awkward corner cabinets that go like so far in the back. I do not want to put my baking stuff in here because it will get lost in the back and it will be counterproductive to me being able to get it in and out. I am wondering if maybe my plates might serve a better purpose here, because some of this stuff, like this stuff on the top here, I don't necessarily use very much. So we might just kind of change some stuff around. My cups are over in that location. Yeah, let's figure it out. This is another reason why I'm doing this, because this kitchen isn't really functioning the way that I need it to function. I have a very, very small kitchen. That's why when you're watching my cooking videos, you see me kind of only in this corner, because this is my bigger counter space that I have available to work on. And yeah, it's kind of, it's like a cubby kitchen. It goes around in a U shape. That's what it's called, a U-shaped kitchen. We don't have an open concept house, so everything has its separate rooms. Hindsight, I would have loved to have an open concept house because I like to be able to be in the kitchen and still being able to have a conversation with Stephen when he is sitting on the couch. But anyways, that's not what it is. So I guess what we'll do is we'll empty these cupboards out right here. I ran out of space on my kitchen table. So yeah, let's figure it out. Okay, what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna get this emptied out, and then as I'm emptying it out, I'll kind of think about a good solution for it. The other reason I kind of like to do this is I feel like it's kind of good to freshen up your space. It makes it feel, you know, when you move to a new house and everything is fresh and new and it's fun to be in that environment again, that's kind of what I like to do with my living spaces. I like to just kind of rearrange stuff every couple of years, and that way that it makes the space feel really super fresh. Stephen doesn't know where anything is in this kitchen to begin with because he's really never in it. He knows where the cups are and he knows where the plates are, and that is it. Like, he asked me one day, he asked me where the peanut butter was, and yeah, anyways, so me having to teach him where stuff is, he doesn't know to begin with, so I don't worry about that. But yeah, so I just find like I like to freshen up my space every once in a while, and just helps the vibe of the house, and it kind of goes along with the fact that it is like really gray outside. It kind of ups the vibe in my house. It makes me feel better when I'm the one that is in this kitchen 90% of the time. I'm sorry I have my back to you guys. Okay, so we have this side of the kitchen all cleaned out. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fill this big bowl full of warm soapy water. I'm just using Dawn to clean. I do not wash my dishes with this. This is strictly used for instances in this, like cleaning cupboards out. Anything that I need like a heavy duty cleaner, because this is a heavy duty cleaner, I use this until it is gone. I will not be buying it again. I am going to get these gloves on because my hands get really dry. So I just put these rubber gloves on while we wipe out the cupboards. So we'll get that done first, and then we'll kind of reassess where everything's gonna go. I know right away, like this is where I keep all my mugs and my cups, and I know that that is by far the most functional spot for those, because my coffee, my kettle is over here and our water is here. So I like to be able to have these cups, and the fridge is here. So everything, this is a perfect spot for these. So I want to actually keep these here. I might actually consider moving them over to this cupboard though, because that's the same area. So we'll double check that, because then I might be able to use this cupboard for my plates and then that one for my baking. See why I wait to, oh, we're overflowing. See why I wait to do things, because as I'm kind of doing this, I'm thinking through what I want to do. If I just kind of take everything out, it gives me a time to kind of go through where I need it. Grabbed an old toothbrush. This is what I use to kind of clean like these little tiny corners, because they are super hard to get at with the big rag, and dust likes to gather in these corners, so just use that to get them cleaned out. The top of the microwave is definitely a spot that does not get cleaned very often, because I always forget to clean it up here. So this is pretty dusty. Definitely needs a good cleaning up here. Okay, I think I am actually going to end up putting my plates in this corner here. They are pretty accessible, that I can get out all my bowls. And then what I'm actually gonna end up doing is, my kettle is over there. I am actually gonna end up relocating my kettle to over here. And we'll actually get those spices back, because these cupboards are all cleaned out right now. So let's get the stuff that we know is going away put back in here. So this spice drawer, everything's gonna go back in there. This is an organization hack that I have. I use one of these in the cupboards, and that way I can just turn these. These are my most used spices, like most used. So I like to have them accessible, so I just put them on this. I can't put them on the bottom shelf because there is this back like footboard or whatever these things are called. So I can't put it there. It has to go here in order for my cupboard to be able to close right. So that is a really good hack. Lazy Susans. Right now is I am just putting stuff in, and stuff that I do not use frequently I am putting to the back of the shelf. You can see here. I really wish I had more of these tiered spice things, but unfortunately I don't. So everything that I use the most goes to the front of the cabinet, and if it doesn't get used very often, it goes to the back. Because otherwise I am just kind of standing here for a good 5 minutes, moving things around. These things are falling off, so my goal is to eventually get more of these stacking racks, because that way I can kind of get at stuff more better. Let's kind of assess this cupboard. So currently right now this cupboard houses my strainer, my platters, and my breakfast stuff. I am okay with, because we are putting the tea station over there now, kind of like the coffee station, I will have a bottom shelf over there. And so I'm thinking that my breakfast stuff would fit perfect over there, with the exception of the toaster. That's kind of a spot that I need to find, because I don't use it a lot, and I do not want it on the counter because it is just a very cluttery thing. I like to have that kind of hidden. So I'm thinking it's actually going to go down below here, but we'll get to that soon, because I know I need to get rid of some pots that are down there that I do not use. And anyways, we'll get to that. But getting ahead of myself. So let's kind of get the plates in here. I am still going to keep the platters up here because we do not use the platters a lot, and I would like to still have them here and accessible. So what we'll do is we will put these on the bottom, because these are our most used ones. This is what I use for granola, cereal, soup. Like, these are our go-to bowls for that. So we will put them on the bottom. And then I have these bowls also that we use sometimes. We don't use them as much. So those will fit perfect to the back, because we don't use them an awful lot. And then just this one Tupperware dish. Stephen likes this just for, I don't know, certain stuff. So we'll just keep that back there also. So the only thing that is kind of flawed with this plan, so we have our plates and our bowls put away, and they're all very accessible. This is also where I keep my big nesting bowls, and my Pyrex Cinderella bowls. These are what I use for baking. So if I put them on this shelf, they are extremely heavy. They are very heavy to get in and out. So I am thinking that we are going to try to have to work something so that I can get access to them a little bit easier than them being up here and me trying to have to pull them down, because again, they are super heavy. So we might have to actually relocate them and put them in this shelf so that they are on the bottom shelf, and then we'll put the flowers and stuff up top. Well, figure it out. This is the solution that I have momentarily. I put the nesting bowls up there, and I just kind of took them out of each other. That way they're not as heavy, and I did put the platters back on the top. Other bowls I put right there because they are the ones that I probably use the most, because they're easy to pour. And then I have my flour and sugar right there. So those bowls being there kind of disrupt the system a bit, because that is where I usually keep the flour, and then I keep like my chocolate chips and stuff on that next level. So we're gonna have to rearrange it a little bit, because this is all the stuff that was in that other cabinet, and it is all not going to fit in that one because it is a little bit of a smaller dimension cabinet. The other thing that I am trying to work with is I usually keep my vacuum sealer up there, and I really wanted to keep, I don't know if you can see here, but I really wanted to keep all of these bags with it because I like to keep the things together. Normally, I have the bags up here. This is the cabinet that is over top of my fridge. I keep the bags up here, and I keep my cookie cutters up here because I don't use my cookie cutters a lot. I literally use them once a year for Christmas cookies. And then I keep extra milk bottles up there. So I think what we're gonna do is we are going to actually move the vacuum sealer and put it up there, and that way I can keep the vacuum sealer with the bags all together, and then we'll just move the cookie cutters and put them over top of the fridge, and then that way I can kind of have my things together. I have to use the stool to get in and out of over top of the fridge. My vacuum sealer isn't used a lot. Definitely the summer it is used the most, so maybe in the summer we'll do a little bit of a rearrangement and maybe get the vacuum sealer in more of an accessible spot. So I'm just kind of moving the cookie cutters, and then I have napkins and stuff above here, so we'll just move up, and then balloons, so we'll just move them over onto this side, and then we'll leave the vacuum sealer and stuff out because we haven't washed that cabinet yet. So we will just kind of empty that and then put what we need to up here, and then everything that's going to go in there we'll just go and put back on the table. Look at these amazing cookie cutters. They are gingerbread man. This is how I usually make my gingerbread. I use these particular cookie cutters. I love them. They're so cute. But look at, I have all of these like super vintage. Look at this cookie cutter. It is a chicken. You better bet that this is going to be a Christmas cookie for me. I'm going to make a chicken, and then I'm going to put a little Santa hat on it. Love it. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of vintage cookie cutters in here. This is a vintage Tupperware one. I used to use these when I was a kid for Play-Doh. They are the best. But they make cute little cookies. I have a whole bunch of just vintage Tupperware ones. So this is kind of where I keep my cookie cutters, and then like I have a donut thing in here, donut maker. I also keep all of my piping tips in here. Birthday candles, popsicle sticks. This is just kind of a catch-all. Pretty much just any type of thing to do with decorating or cookies. I found these vintage flower cookie cutters. Show you what they look like. I was debating whether I was going to list them on Etsy or not, because I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but they are so cute. There's like a strawberry one. I might use them. Those are what they look like. So I think I'm just going to keep them for now. It does come with like this little vintage like guide also. Super old. Love them. This is why I'm saying I gotta go through stuff, because I have a whole bunch of stuff that I think that I'm gonna use, and then I never actually use it, and then it just sits around and takes up space, precious space. So I really just kind of, am I gonna use these flower garden cookie cutters? I don't know, we haven't had cookie season. I just got them, and we haven't had cookie season yet in the summer with them. So I'll reassess in the summer. I should really just kind of put them in a special bin, but for now they're gonna go in this bin above the stove where I won't remember that I have them. It's probably what's gonna end up happening. I also have this vintage donut cutter. It'd be good for biscuits too. Okay, so let's put this up here. That's the other thing too, is from the dollar store I buy a lot of these plastic containers, and they are amazing for keeping things organized so that I can just pull it out when I need it and I'm not kind of rifling through the cupboard. And then these are balloons, so they will go up here with the candles. And then I just have some lunch boxes. This is one of Steven's vintage lunch boxes, and he actually does use it. So it goes up here. Okay, so that cupboard is full and done. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is these are some of the things that I had in my baking cabinet. So like I have instant coffee. I keep this because this is good for some recipes. So I like to have this on hand, and then honey. These are things that I use the kettle with. So I am going to put them over on this side because this is now going to be kind of our tea side. So I am going to move that stuff over there. Then I guess up here what I'll do is I keep all of my, this is another organizing tip that I have, the same concept, the little basket. I keep all of my extracts in here so that they're easy just to pull out and I get access to them. I also have these googly eyes. I bought these like years and years ago for decorating cupcakes. So I keep those in there also. So we'll just put them up top here, and then this is where I keep a little basket. I keep all of my muffin tins in here. And then I have vanilla beans in here, which they do not belong in here. So I think I'm going to put my vanilla beans in with the extracts. For appropriate spot for them. When I did that Black Friday haul, Goodwill haul, I was telling you guys that I bought these little tiny jars. I keep all of my sprinkles in these jars. So I have different season sprinkles, obviously. So right now what I'm going to do is I am going to pull forward all of the Christmas ones because we are going to use those the most. And because it is something that I don't use a lot, like I don't use it on a daily, I don't need it down on my easy to get to. So that is going to go up there with the extracts again because it's not a everyday use. That is one thing that helps keep my kitchen functional is everything that is my everyday use, put it where I can easily get at it. I do not want to have to struggle to have to reach to get it because you know what's going to happen is I am not going to use it and then that's just pointless to even having it in the kitchen. So everyday stuff, make sure it is accessible and easy to get at. And that's what I was saying with the bowls. I use these every single day. I do not want to have to lift 20 pounds up and down every single day. I know that it's not very much weight, but still, it doesn't make it easy for me. And when I'm in the kitchen, I need everything to flow and everything to be easy to get at. Because we are doing a deep clean, I'm just kind of getting all of the like fixtures also because this is not a regular thing that I clean daily and it definitely collects dirt. So I'm going to kind of clean up here and just get all the cobwebs off. It's a good cleaning. It's also really good to do this in, like, for me going into the winter because all my windows are shut and stuff and I want to make sure that the house isn't circulating dust and stuff, so it's good just to kind of do it at the season before, like when the windows aren't open, because it's just gonna kind of circulate in the house. So if I get it removed, when I don't have as much circulation, it'll be easier to breathe. So speaking of which, I actually want to open the window right now. Just get some fresh air in here while we're doing this. Okay, so I have run into an issue. I've run into an issue in this cupboard because it is not as big as that cupboard. So what I am doing is I am actually going to move those bowls and I'm going to move them over to this cabinet. This cabinet used to house all of our mugs and our glasses. I am still going to keep our water glasses in here, but I am moving all of the mugs over to this shelf right here. We are changing this area over here to kind of our coffee and tea station. So what I've done in this cabinet here is I have put this as kind of my tea section. I'm just taking some of this Irish breakfast tea and I am just putting it into a old mason jar. These were actually Stephen's grandmother's jars, great-grandmother's jars. When we went to Arkansas years back, we went to his old family's kind of the original homestead, and in the storm shelter, there was a whole bunch of these old jars, so we were able to take some of them. So this is one of them, and I'm just going to put it in here. I've labeled it on the back so I know exactly what kind of tea this is. That's the other thing about my organization. I really like to have things in these clear containers. Almost all of them are in these glass containers, and it is so I can see what I have in them. But I mean, it serves a dual purpose in this particular house because we are in the country. I know I've mentioned this many times. We have mice here, and by me keeping everything in glass containers, it really deters them from coming into the house because they can't get at a lot of stuff. I do have very few things that are not in glass containers, and it is usually just because I don't have available containers to put them in yet. So I made this my tea section. This is all like my hot chocolates, my teas. I put my honey in here because this is what I use to sweeten my teas, and then I have some stevia leaf in here also because again, that's another sweetener. So what I'm going to do is we've emptied out that cabinet over there. Because this is our tea section, and this is all of my overflow tea up here, I am going to put all of our travel mugs. So Stephen takes coffee again with him every day. So I'm going to put all of those types of travel mugs up here, and then that way they're in the coffee tea station. I'm going to put all of our mugs also up here. Again, that way it's accessible to like where we actually need this stuff to be. Now this is not really a coffee mug. This is more like my water one that I use. So That will go in a different section. Now, I realize that I have an excessive amount of mugs right now. We do not use this many mugs. Like, I usually use maybe 2 to 3 mugs a day, and I can easily just rinse it out. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of get rid of some of our mugs that we're not using. I think I'm gonna call this cabinet pretty good. We've got our mugs here, we've got all of our teas here, we've got our vitamins over there, which we don't really take because again, they were hiding in the shelf over there. Out of sight, out of mind. So I have them up here so maybe we can start taking them more, and we got our overflow of tea up there. Perfect, I'm happy with this one. So that one is done, this one is done, this is where we did our cookie cutters. So what we're gonna do, because we've already washed this cabinet out, we are going to move these bowls. So I am going to put these bowls over here on the lower side, which is fine. They're still very accessible to me, which works perfect. Because we found a different spot for our over tea, like our extra tea stuff, I have put all of my baking stuff up here that I do not use a lot. Like table salt. Because I use Redmond salt, I pretty much just use this for like laundry detergent. I don't really actually even know why I'm wasting a container for this. This is gonna get moved. So like wheat gluten, tapioca starch. I also don't use the whole wheat flour. That is strictly just for making like graham crackers with and certain cracker recipes. Cake flour, again, I don't use it very much. Coconut milk, not one that I use an excessive amount. So kind of what I'm doing is everything that is like a one-off thing, like cream of tartar, xanthan gum, tahini. I don't use these things on a daily basis, so I'm going to put them up here, and then that way I can still see what I have, but it is not taking up precious real estate. And then now, because we moved that stuff, we can kind of move some stuff in here. Molasses is not used a lot. And then our baking powder and baking soda can just kind of go right there. We'll put it right there. So on this shelf, these are stuff that I use on a regular. So the white rice flour I use for my sourdough, and then I have my bread flour here that I feed my starter with, my sugar, my regular flour, and then our Jiffy mix. That Jiffy mix really shouldn't be in here because I don't use it very much. I would really like to put it at the bottom of that shelf there. So let's take that out for now and just leave it like that. I like to be able to have stuff like this, so that I can see what I'm working with, so that I don't have to move stuff around. It's all about accessibility. So that cupboard is all done. I have now got these 2 shelves empty, and this one used to be my tea shelf down here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this my breakfast shelf, and also where I keep like my bread and stuff. So this is perfect for that. Way more accessible. Now this corner, this is another one of these silly corner cabinets. I keep all of my pastas. Again, if I can see them, I like to know how much I have left in them. I have all of these like noodles. These are perfect for making like ramen and stuff. So I like to keep them because this top shelf up here is so inaccessible. So I like to keep them up there because I don't make a lot of ramen. Up there. And then these big, huge ones, these pasta ones, I like to keep on that shelf. And because I can see them, I I don't like moving them around, but it's kind of what I have to do, and I'm fine with that. And the ones that I don't use very often, like these are little alphabet ones. These are so cute for making like a vegetable soup with. I keep them at the very back because I don't use them a lot. We don't eat a lot of this pasta either, so I go to the back. So this shelf I like to keep for all of my pastas, and then down here I like to keep this shelf for all of my beans. Also, I guess I could put these down here. I could raise this up a bit. You know what? I'm going to switch the shelves around because I use more beans, or I use more pasta than I do beans. So let me just move that shelf. Okay, so we have all of our pasta on this shelf. We have all of our beans, and Stephen likes these things, so I have to keep them in stock. So I just keep them there. And then we have all of our longer things, like our noodles, like long spaghetti noodles and stuff, like extras, we keep up there because we don't get at it very often. Now, another thing that I keep in this cabinet, which I don't know where to put, is I keep all my sprouting seeds. I have some of these, I have some mung beans, and then these are alfalfa ones. I really enjoy having sprouts on hand in the winter because that's kind of how I get my greens in. I don't know where to put these. I usually keep them on the bottom shelf here, but I'm not really liking them in that location. I guess we could keep it up here with the beans because kind of like mung beans and stuff. So we'll just keep them on this shelf. I think what I'm going to do is actually empty this into a glass container. I'll empty these two into glass containers, and then actually I'll empty all three in. So I need to go and get some glass containers for that. And then this shelf right here it's usually where I end up keeping like all of our olives, our chicken broths, our tomato sauce, stuff like that is where, and then these like gravy packets. These are super easy to use to make Salisbury steak, which I'm actually going to be making, I think, this week. So I'm going to see if I can make a video for you guys because I love Salisbury steak and it's such a quick and easy meal to make. Okay, so let's get... We use more chicken broth, and that's the other thing too with this is I always check my dates. I always have the one that I need to use first in the front, and then stuff that needs to be used up last goes into the back. And I keep quarts and I keep pints in here also, so I have the chicken broths in pints. I usually like to have 3 of each, so I might go and grab another one of those. And then I have one turkey stock, which I don't use a lot of. Actually, we'll just leave it right there. Then I have a couple of these cream of mushroom soup mixes. These are good for if I don't have time to make one myself. So I just like to keep these on hand. See, I don't make everything from scratch. I definitely have some quick to use stuff. I have 1 can, I think there's only 1 can left of this stuff. Once I'm done this can, then I'm gonna start to use my other tomato sauce that I canned up. So that's tomato sauce there. This is another thing that I like to keep on hand is canned tuna. I actually need to go and get more. I need to put that on my list. So let me just stop right now what I'm doing and write that down so I don't forget. All right, guys, we're getting through this. I just finished cleaning all of these lower cabinets here. So this is everything here that I took out of this bottom drawer. This is one of those Lazy Susans, which I absolutely love. So this stuff all can stay in here. So a lot what I store in there is my rice. I'm gonna put that Jiffy mix in there. We've got cornmeal, all of like my brown sugars, just flours that I don't use a lot, which actually we might be able to kind of put in that drawer now. Let's just see if we have any space. We do have space, but this is too tall, so that's not gonna work. So we'll just put it in here. So let's get this stuff kind of put back in here. The other stuff that I keep down here is my nuts, and I keep my stuff to make my oatmeal in here because I don't, not my oatmeal, sorry, my granola. I use that once every couple weeks, so it doesn't need to be out where I can get access to it right away. And we don't eat a lot of these are walnuts. What I do is I actually keep a little bit of nuts in these jars, and then I store my nuts in the freezer. Because nuts have a oil to them, they do go rancid. So if you have them stored in a glass container, you do need to eat through them fairly quickly because they will go bad. I've learned that the hard way. So I try to go through, this is what I use to make my granola, so I do go through this pretty quickly. But I try not to store, like my cashews, I don't eat them a lot. My pecans, all that stuff, all in my freezer because I don't eat it a lot. Almonds, I have these out because I actually want to make a chocolate almond with these, so that's why these are out. But typically, they are in my freezer so that they store for a longer period of time. So I'm gonna get this stuff all put back in here. I just found some more stuff that I'm gonna donate, or not donate, I'm gonna sell. So I found some oven mitts, and then these really, really cute cast iron like pot holders. There's a set of, there's two little owls and one big owl. I don't use them. I really, really, really love them, but I don't use them. So I think this would be perfect for Etsy. So I'm gonna list those, and same with this. Like I don't use this. This is a pot holder thing and I don't use it. So get rid of it if I don't use it. I keep the bag clips and I keep all of like my my bread. Like if I make buns or something, I put them in these linen sacks instead of plastic. But you know what I found? Like with my sourdough, I can't put them in these linen sacks because they go hard, like rock hard. So I have to put them in one of these silicone bags or a plastic bag, whatever one I have. But I do use these for like buns and bagels and stuff. They work perfect for that. And then I just have these like little fabric bowl covers that I keep so that I don't have to use as much cling wrap. My whole purpose with buying all of these like reusable silicone stuff is so that I can not use plastic. I am not a fan of plastic and its one-use ability. So I try to use these things when I can. And it's a slow process because these are expensive to buy. Like, these silicone bags are pretty pricey. I know that a lot of people say, well, they're a good deal, but they are pretty pricey for somebody that is on a very tight budget. So I have to slowly work my way into it. I just can't all of a sudden go plastic free. It takes a little bit. The other thing that I keep in my drawer with my baggies is I keep twine because I do use that quite a bit. And then I've got all of my linens, so I need to get all of that stuff back in that drawer for there. Now we are doing the absolute vein of my existence cupboard. This is one of those cupboards that like go back and there's like dead space, but look at everything I had crammed in there. Not only did I have a lot of stuff crammed in there, that is all stuff that I use almost daily, with the exception of some of these really big pots, which I am actually probably going to bring up to the attic. Like this pot right here, this is a cast iron, like huge Dutch pot. When we processed our pigs, I actually used this to render down our pig lard with. This was Stephen's grandfather's. So I'm not getting rid of it because it is so perfect. It's perfect for actually cooking over an open fire as well. So I do like to have that available. But it is not used monthly. Like maybe I'll use it once a year. So it does not need to have premium kitchen space. So we're gonna get that put away. The other thing I keep in here is some of my bigger frying pans, which I use when I don't want to use my cast iron. But I also keep my Instapot in here, and I am getting that Instapot out almost every single day. Almost, not every single day. I would say every second day I'm getting it out. And it is so hard to get in and out of. However, I have racked my mind on where I can put it, and there is absolutely nowhere that it is not going to take up a huge amount of space because it is a big appliance, but it is an appliance that I use so much. Now, I was debating, because I keep my pots and my cast iron over there on that roll-away shelf. I was debating putting some of my cast irons in the oven just as a storing spot, but I don't like that idea because I turn the oven on a lot of times and don't check to see if there's something in there, and that's going to be really annoying for me to have to do every single time. So I know that the Instapot's going to go back in here. This is also where I keep my food processor because I don't use it a lot. I also keep my aluminum foil in here because it does not fit in any drawers because it's huge. I just put it on this side here. Oh, I wanted to show you guys what we did over here. Okay, so the top drawer is where I keep all my oven mitts and like my things for hot pots. I just put those on the counter and use that, so that is perfect for that. This is where I keep all of my Ziploc baggies, my parchment paper, my cling wrap. Everything is in there. And then this bottom drawer here is where I keep my muffin tins and my cooling racks. They're really easy to get at and accessible. Then we got that whole thing organized. And this bottom area here, this bottom shelf, is where I keep all my canning stuff and like my flour sacks and stuff, and cheesecloth and stuff like that. And then this drawer is where I keep all of my tea towels. And then this one here is kind of a catch-all. So I have my washcloths. I like to keep toothpicks and these little plucker things. I like to keep those in the kitchen. This is where I'm going to put my my bag clips. I have some oxygen absorbers in there, some pH. It's kind of like a catch-all. And then I have Q-tips in here also. I use the Q-tips to clean this part of my Instapot because it is kind of hard to get clean. So Q-tips work perfect for that. They also worked really good for cleaning my waffle iron. So we have to get all of this stuff back in here, and we need to kind of get it back in kind of an organized fashion where I can get at it, because this shelf drives me crazy trying to get in and out of it. And this is what I'm talking about. I have 3 lids here. Do I know what pots they go to? No. Do I even own the pots? No, I don't. So that, because they were tucked away in the very back of that no man's land cupboard, they're sitting there and I don't even have a use for them. So donate, because somebody might be in my situation. They might have one of these things and they're looking for a lid. So I'm going to donate these and hopefully they can go to a better home. So what I'm doing right now is I've emptied out all my stuff that's in my utensil drawer, and I'm just emptying out my, I've washed this out. This is where I keep all of my utensils. I'm just going to put this back in here. And then I just, again, use these dollar store containers to help keep everything in its place. And I'll show you guys once I get everything back in. This used to be one of my most hated drawers in every single house that I owned. But then I realized that it was just organization. So this is our food storage. These are all like those glass Pyrex. I have all of the lids over there kind of organized. These are all like these plastic mason jar lids that I just use to store stuff. Then I have like popsicle makers over here, and then this is for making butter. So that's kind of how I keep that organized, and this is a lifesaver because it makes it so much easier putting leftovers away, because we eat a lot of leftovers. So we have 2 more drawers left and then we are done. Then I'm gonna do a good sweeping of this floor and wipe the counters down and get everything back on the counters. So let's get these last 2 drawers done and then we can relax. Oh, we are done. It's so exciting. Okay, I'm gonna show you the last 3 drawers, and then we are going to get the counter cleaned up, and we're going to get this floor swept, and we are going to get out of the kitchen because I've been in it too much. The other reason I really want to get this kitchen cleaned up is because I think that was part of my lack of motivation. Yes, it not being sunny and rainy and yucky outside, that plays a part, but the other part was that if my kitchen is not like functioning, I don't want to be in it, because it is like I'm working harder when I'm in it. So the fact that I have a fresh, clean, new space, I'm hoping that that is going to up my motivation and really get me wanting to be back in the kitchen again, because something had to change, because I was really, really struggling. Like all this week was just a struggle bus to be in the kitchen. But hopefully now that we got everything organized, it will be a little bit more easier for me. Okay, so this is my utensil drawer. So I have my knives, my spoons, my forks. I like to keep my dessert forks up here, and then we also use these a lot when we're like using like pickled jalapenos and stuff. We use these to get them out. So these are they're pickle forks. That's what they're called, and we use them. And then we have regular forks here. I have my metal straws up here, all my lemon stuff, my chopsticks. This is where I keep my peelers, my can openers. These are funnels I use for my kombucha and my kefir, so I like to have them in here. My garlic press. These most used, so I like to keep these easy accessible. These are my measuring cups and my measuring spoons. I do keep wooden ones on the counter, but these are used for liquids because I don't like my wooden ones for that. So then I have all my steak knives here, and then I keep my whisks in here also because, again, this is where I'm doing all of my baking. So I like to be able to open it and get at it quickly. And I have my scissors in here and a knife sharpener. So that's done. I don't know if I showed you down here. This is this drawer all done. I've got my Instapot, my bigger pots, and my bigger frying pans. And then this is kind of like my catch-all drawer, I guess. I have a lot of catch-alls. So I've moved my salad spinner in here. This is where I put my strainer. I have my electric knife because I use that to cut my sourdough. I have extra measuring cups and measuring spoons because I need extras. And then I have my mixer, my immersion blender, my potato ricer, and then these are on where I keep my KitchenAid tools. And then this is just some pastry stuff back there, like icing stuff. And then this top drawer is where I keep my serving spoons. So I have my serving spoons, forks, salad stuff in here, ladles, pie stuff, and then these are where I keep my spatulas, my flippers, and my tongs. And then I have some meat thermometers back there and skewers. Oh, and then if you notice, I keep everything in its own compartment with the exception of a couple little things. The reason I do this is because it keeps it more organized. It keeps stuff from moving around when it is in its own little container, so you're gonna less likely have the instance where you're gonna open it and you're gonna have to rustle around in it because it's all in its little spot. So everything's kind of got its little spot. So what we're gonna do right now is we are just going to clean the back of this backsplash and get this counter all cleaned up, and then we can get the stuff put back on the counter, and then it is done. I am now going to get everything put away back in its spot on the counter. I might rearrange a couple of things. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today as I got my kitchen all organized. Hopefully it wasn't boring for you. If you have watched it all the way to the end, congratulations, you are a neat freak like I am. There's something about watching people clean. Maybe it's because I'm not doing it, I don't know. I just enjoy it. Plus I like seeing how different people organize their kitchen to make it functional for them. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.